Good morning, sunshine. Welcome to another day of the Make Your Damn Bed podcast. Today, we're talking about EQ, which, if you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, I did a little intro on that, which is also available on YouTube at youtube.com/JulieMerica if you're interested in watching my cute face talk about it. Otherwise, we are just continuing the conversation about emotional intelligence, which I think is really something that's so underutilized and talked about, especially considering the fact that these are skills we can absolutely hone. And the real true reason I'm so passionate about building up our EQ is because I genuinely believe our relationships will improve, our connections will get deeper, more genuine, and we'll have less conflict, especially communication conflict, which is the number one cause of conflict, let's be honest. One major sign of being socially intelligent is self-awareness. Self-awareness is something that makes you more understanding to the world around you. It takes you out of your ego, out of your head, out of your insecurity in the subjective part of your brain, and into a more objective worldview. It widens your perspective to ensure that you're actually looking at your actions, responses, behaviors, and energy as a holistic part of you, rather than something that is completely dictated by your emotions and your emotional reactions. By being able to listen to other people's viewpoints and perspectives, you are able to widen your own, but you're also able to still stay in your own power by being aware of your own energies, moods, and needs. Good self-awareness means you know when to establish boundaries and when to enact those boundaries to protect your space. I truly believe self-awareness is the foundational part of building EQ, and without that, it will be a lot harder to develop the other qualities that I think make emotional intelligence so valuable. And once you have established your own sense of self-awareness, it can allow you to widen your perspective to see how other people are reacting to you, but it can also increase your own level of empathy, but in a way that does not actually harm you. I used to be so empathetic that I took on other people's pain and was unable to help them or function. But now I have learned proper boundaries, how to have the self-awareness to know what I need in any given experience so that I can actively understand and empathize with what my friend or my partner or whatever relationship I'm in is experiencing, but in a way that's actually helpful to the situation so that I'm not just cracking jokes when they can't take one or becoming completely emotionally inappropriate. The thing about empathy is being able to know that what you want in a given moment may not be what the other person wants. That self-awareness is really important, but empathy towards other people's needs, wants, and desires is also really important. Learning how to read a room can be such a valuable tool in doing all of this. Another key aspect in building your emotional intelligence is taking accountability and responsibility for your words, your actions, your reactions, and the way that you are in an environment. It is really hard for me, a perfectionist, to take blame. I have always struggled with the idea of quote unquote getting in trouble. And because of that, I've avoided any type of conflict, confrontation, or making mistakes in general. Or when I do make mistakes, I often had scapegoats or people to blame or reasons to blame instead of taking accountability for the fact that I do mess up. I do make mistakes, and I do speak incorrectly sometimes. This is something that I've noticed especially difficult as I level up in my emotional intelligence, because as I grow and make changes, I think that I've done everything I need to do to grow and make changes, and I'm like, oh, I'm perfect. And then when I make a mistake, it's even harder to recognize because I've already learned this lesson, but in a different aspect. But taking accountability, recognizing when there's room for growth and that there's always room for learning and growth is one of the most emotionally responsible things you can do in relationships and in your own personal life. And the more you practice your own self-awareness, the more you can work on self-regulation, which means the ability to stop yourself before you make a negative comment or catch yourself when an emotion is taking control of your behavioral responses, or recognizing maladaptive trauma responses in the moment and stopping yourself. Sometimes we are going to make mistakes, of course, and that's where that important part of taking accountability comes in. But ideally, we can get to a place where we're not only self-aware of these things as they're happening in real time, but also able to self-regulate and take control and give ourselves what we need to establish the boundaries to make sure we are protecting ourselves, protecting those around us, and protecting our relationships through sustaining boundaries or walking away when we need a moment or asking for space so that you can regroup. For me, being able to just slow down and recognize that not everything has to be solved in the minute has really helped with this, but everybody's different. So this is why it's so important to build your own recipe for social and emotional intelligence. By being able to truly connect with your feelings and the feelings around you and not taking that on in a shameful or guilt-filled or judgment-filled way can really improve your relationships in a way that feels empowering and strengthening. So I did say I would be giving quick tips on how to improve your social intelligence and your emotional intelligence, but instead I just went over some of the qualities of those. So tomorrow I will be offering some quick tips on how to hone them if you are struggling in any of those aspects. But for the most part, it really is about getting in touch with your own needs, wants, desires, triggers, and what makes you feel good or bad in social situations so that you can regulate those responses, recognize them in real time, and take action when you need to. By connecting with our authentic feelings and wants, needs, boundaries, and the feelings of those around us, we're turning our intentions into action and building better relationships because of it. It's a win-win. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you tomorrow while you make your damn bed.